Good morning. Oh, I haven't moved my camera. Hang on. There we go. Maddie, don't start, please. Come on. Hello, hello, hello. Morning, Jess. Morning, Susan. Welcome to RhomanysRealm. I'm Romany, and I'm on a side quest to get started in journaling again. See yesterday's video for a brief potted history on why I stopped journaling and when, and why I'm trying to get back into it, etc. That music is a bit funky and loud. I'm still coughing and spluttering and a bit chesty, so sorry about that. I feel fine, I'm just a bit, you know. So I'm going to take some cough syrup, see if that helps a little bit. It will help. It's just, anyway. Here we go. How are we this morning? Hi, Tyler. As you can probably hear, I feel fine. I feel totally fine. I just, my God, the coughing and the dry throat and the buckets of snot. You know. While we're on that subject, I'm streaming this morning, obviously. I will do the 2 hours. We may overrun a little bit. I'm not going to stream on Twitch this afternoon. Reason being, Wednesdays is usually really, really quiet. It's quite often just me and Tyler sitting there chatting. But also, I need to continue recovering and resting, and you know, if people don't turn up on particular days very often, then I don't think it's going to be a big issue if I'm not there. So, oh God, don't you have coffee yet? Go get coffee. Go get coffee. Anyway, yeah, I'm not going to stream on Twitch today. Primarily because I've got 4 hours of streaming tomorrow. I've got Twitch on Friday, and then I've got 2 hours of streaming on Saturday as well. So I've still got 8 hours minimum of streaming left, and things tend to overrun because I've been off. So I'm going to rest up this afternoon, catch up with some admin that I need to do and things like that. And then I will be back again here tomorrow and on Patreon, and I will stream on Friday on Twitch instead. I'm considering dropping the Wednesday streams and just streaming a bit longer on Fridays because there's more people on Fridays. But I don't want to make a hasty decision, and I might decide to do that after Christmas. We'll see. But I'm not going to stream this today. So, on today's agenda, I started doing some journaling yesterday. They've taken away the option to show all chat on mobile. What, live chat? I think you swap it from top chat to live chat. Yeah, I started doing some journaling yesterday. I did a tarot layout from class. I want to do a little bit more on that. I also want to do an additional page, which I've got some printables for, which I will put the link down below for. They're from Toadfoot Tales, so the link is actually on yesterday's video as well. And I also mentioned yesterday that this journal that I'm using, which I'm liking it. I'm liking being in this one. It feels good. It doesn't have an elastic, so before we do anything else, we're going to MacGyver it. We're going to fix it. We're going to put some elastic on it. You don't have that button anymore. That's weird. Try watching it in Chrome instead of in the app. As a mod, you should have all of it. That doesn't make any sense. It's okay. I mean, Susan's here if all else fails. YouTube's constantly changing things, and I wish they'd change it in sync with everything else, because it's really annoying. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? So, this is a hardback book, so adding a elastic to this is quite easy. If you're using a softbound book, it's a little bit trickier. What I suggest you do... Have I got my softbound book here? Yeah, I have. Can I get it without dropping anything on the floor? Okay, so obviously if you're adding an elastic to something like this, especially if it's thinner, it's going to be tricky because the book will tend to bend and you won't really know how big to have the elastic, and it can be a bit odd. What I suggest you do is cut a piece of cardboard the size of the book. It's most important that it's the height of the book, and just slip that into the back cover to strengthen the back cover, so that when you pull the elastic, it doesn't like do this and stuff. And you know, soft cover books have a tendency to do that as well, don't they? So yeah, just put a piece of cardboard or a packing box or something in here in the back, and then you'll be able to still do it. It not permanently, just put it in there to hold it while you measure where your elastic's going to be. But with a hardback book, you don't need to do that. The mod options show up when you click on the message, but you don't have the settings, so you can't change to all chat. It should show you all chat, because I've set it to all chat. I've set it to show all chat by default on the stream. Like, the stream settings are set to all chat. That doesn't make any sense. YouTube, stop deciding for us what we want to see. Just show us and give us the options. Right, so anyway, first thing I'm going to do is fix this. So I've got some elastic. It's just elastic. It's nothing special. It's like 1/4 of an inch wide, 1/2 an inch wide. I don't know. Let's have a look. It's 12 mil. 12 mil, so it's a 1/2 inch. Now, depending on how much your elastic stretches, will depend on how much you actually want to put on your book. But my book will eventually get quite big, so I want my elastic to go around the book, and I'm going to put it around the front and then work it to the back. But I want it to fit around the book a little bit snugly, but not too snugly. Just a little bit. So on this end, I'm not going to tighten the elastic at all. So it's going to be... I want about 1.5 inches of spare elastic here. I want about 1.5 inches of spare elastic here. And then to make sure that it holds tight, I'm going to take off 1 inch. So that 1.5 inches will stretch up to here. So when it's round the book, it'll be slightly taut, but not completely stretched. Does that make sense? So, cut your elastic at an angle and it won't fray so badly. Okay, so let me run you through that again. So on one end, I'm doing like 1.5 inches. Put it around the front of the book. So this is the back. Put it around the front of the book, measure it to 1.5 inches, and then take 1 inch off. So on this end, it should come about 1/2 inch. But when you put it in, you're going to stretch it so that it goes to 1.5 inches. That makes it slightly taut on the book, which will hold the book together. You don't want it too loose or it'll just keep flopping off. Maddie, stop please. Stop. Stop. The next thing we want to do is mark off where we want to put the slits to put the elastic through. Now, if I could find my long ruler, that would be useful, but I don't know where my long ruler is. It's wandered off. So I'm going to use this for now. Elastic is usually, well, you can judge for yourself where the elastic would normally be. Wherever you would want it to sit on the front is where you're going to mark it on the back anyway. So I reckon the elastic would be around there inwards. And I want the elastic to come up, go underneath into the book, and the inch spare. So I'm going to have 1/2 inch here. It'll go down into the book, and then the rest of that inch will be what's stuck to the inside of the book to hold it. So I want this to be about 1/2 inch up. I want this to be about the same. It is less important that it's equidistant top and bottom than it is that you have it in a straight line that way, because you don't want your elastic to be wonky. And then all you're going to do is lay your elastic down next to the dot and mark a line on a dot on the other side. Okay, so that gives you the width, and then you can just double check that you're actually, I use these quilting rulers because it's easier to see. Just double check that they're actually straight. Yep. Didn't do a bad job of that at all. Okay. Now comes the tricky part. And I had to undo the envelope on the back. If you've got a built-in envelope, this might be a little trickier, but honestly it might be easier to just cut through and not worry about it and just stick a bit of washi tape over it afterwards. Okay, so we need, oops, nah, oh, things are going to start falling off. I've got to stop piling things up on this side. You need your cutting mat. And ideally I want my electric. Ideally I want my metal ruler. Electric? Where did I get that? To score. It's not a good idea to cut with an acrylic ruler because you risk damaging the edgy ruler. But I'm only marking the edge and then I'm going to freehand it. So, because this takes quite a bit of stabbing this. Now this is a cheap craft knife. You're probably better off with a box cutter, but I can't find mine. However, all we're doing is going straight through the whole of the back. So I'm starting off really tight in one corner and I'm coming up towards the other side, but not necessarily going right up into it because I don't want to overshoot. You need to hold your elastic steady. So I'm going to keep going on this side until I'm all the way through. There we go, we're all the way through there. Stick it back in that side. And now, keeping your thumb out of the way, I'm pushing it up with my thumb at the back, holding onto the edge, and just very carefully push the blade up until it reaches all the way to the other edge. If you can't go all the way, mine seems to be getting stuck on something, just go back in on this side like that. Actually, that's easier. And you can see you haven't really damaged the back. There is a split there, but that'll be covered by the elastic. And now you've got a split all the way through on the inside. And repeat on the other end. Which is the other end? Here it is. So again, just cutting down through on this corner until it comes through the other side. And then we're going to stab it so that it goes all the way through. You could use a leather punch if you've got a split. If you've got one of those, the ones that make the splits, yes, you could. So like where you have a thing like that, and you split it there and there, so that you've got a strap that you can put under. Yes, you could use that on one side, or both sides, but it mean the elastic will be on the outside. But this is pretty easy to do. I mean, I don't have very strong hands. I have a lot of trouble with my hands, and this is easy. I'm not having any trouble cutting through this at all. So we're just making sure that we're... Actually, you know what? It's going to be easier to do it that way. I'm going to do it that way, like I did last time. So when I'm doing this, I'm putting my fingers either side of where the hole is to brace it, and then I'm pushing down through the hole. There we go. Yeah, that was much easier. Should have done that in the first place. So there's the two holes. It looks a bit of a mess on the inside because you've pushed in from the back, but the outside doesn't look too bad. So now we have the fun part. Oh, no, don't put that away yet. Of getting the elastic through the holes. Now there's a trick to this, okay? The trick is don't try and put the end of the elastic into the hole and push it through. It's not going to work, okay? Lay the elastic across the hole. Hold it fairly taut, but not too taut, and use the back of your knife to push the elastic down into the hole. And you may have to wiggle it about a bit because it's going to be a tight fit. And then once you get it the other side, you should be able to grab it with something, tweezers, or I don't know, whatever you've got to hand. Really strong nails. The side of the knife will work if you're careful, or even the back of the knife. And then you can pull it so that only the loose end comes through. All right, now remember we want 1 inch on the inside, or thereabouts. I'm going to actually there's a little bit of a mark where I pushed it through. I'm going to take it to where the mark is, because that'll make it just a little bit tighter. Now you want to make sure that this doesn't unravel inside. And so for this you need the thing I can never find. So we'll do it in a minute. Okay. Right. When you're doing the other side, be careful to make sure that your elastic is not twisted. You will have regrets if your elastic is twisted. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. So we're going to do the same thing again. Lay it over the hole. Have plenty of extra. I'm going to do it about where the inch is going to be, so that I have the crease where it's supposed to be. Push it down in. Grab it on the other side. This is easier with like a pair of pliers or tweezers or something like that. But I don't have those kind of things to hand, so I'm just going to push it. Push it real good. I know. Okay. So now our elastic is through the holes. See? Next step. Pull this piece so that you've only got the inch left. Because that's what we measured to. Maddie, stop please. Stop with your crying. Come on. Stop with your crying. Don't be silly. Yeah, don't be silly. Oh, there they are. What are they doing down there? No. Okay. I don't have my lighter handy. No, I don't smoke. I use it for candles, but I do have some matches, so we're gonna do the match. Don't just stick the elastic into the match. You don't need to. Just get the match close to the elastic and it will melt. It's plastic. And all you want to do is just do it so that all the little threads disappear. You can probably see that. There. Those little threads. Get close enough. See, they all shrivel up. That's sealing the end of the elastic. I don't have any water handy, so I can't put that in the bin just yet until it cools. Right, so these are now not going to come frayed, because if these fray inside here, what will happen is as you use it over time and stretch it, it'll gradually ladder all the way up the elastic, and that's when your elastic just gives up and goes bleh. Okay, so while you've got it in there like that, just make sure that your elastic fits the way you want it to. That feels snug without being crazy. It doesn't easily open, but there's plenty of give in it for when I bulk the journal up. So that's perfect for how I want it. Now you need a bit of strong glue, and I mean strong glue. Pritt Stick is not going to do this, okay? You need E6000, super glue, some of that Gorilla double-sided tape stuff, anything like that. That is what you need. I have some super glue here somewhere. Let me just find it. It's in this box here somewhere. because I used it for my Funkos. It's in one of these, but I don't know which one. So just give me a second while I find it. It's not in this side, it's in the other side then. Yeah. Is it in there? Nope. It's in this one. Apparently. There it is. This stuff is super glue. Do not get it in your hands, your eyes, anywhere but where you need it to be. Do not touch it. You will be stuck to things. It will be horrible. Okay? Don't do it. Be very careful. There's a reason there's a massive exclamation mark on the back of this stuff. I am basically going to put this where that elastic is going to sit. I'm being generous with it. Because some of it will soak into the paper and some of it will soak into the elastic. I am putting it away immediately so that I don't accidentally get it stuck on anything. Or not put it away or something like that. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to use a piece of greaseproof paper to basically just push it down onto the glue. And then if you want to leave it like that, then basically just put your greaseproof paper in there, fold it over and put a weight on it and leave it to dry. Inlay, hello. Hi Cody. This is essentially going to take 24 hours to cure properly. So don't go crazy trying to get your elastic to work straight away. Don't get overexcited. This will come off if you aren't careful with it for the next 24 hours. However, I don't want to leave mine exposed like that. I want to stick my envelope back down. So I'm going to grab my ever-present double-sided tape. And I'm going to whack it all over this. There is double-sided tape on it already and it's still sticky. But there's never any harm in adding more. Also, I discovered yesterday, here's a tip. You know when you tear this stuff and it always goes diagonal like that? I just remembered as I did it. Instead of holding it like that and tearing it, and it guarantees to go diagonal, instead, put your thumb across it like that and tear it against your thumb and it'll come out much straighter. Isn't that cool? That wasn't long enough. I'm going to do a much longer piece for this. See? Okay. Take those bits off. These books, this is a sketchbook that didn't come with a thing in the back. So I just used an old envelope, as you can see. Stick the tape of the lip of the envelope and then just along the edges. Meanwhile, this is drying, so These will be nicely stuck by the time we are finished. And then we won't be in danger of getting that super glue all over our fingers. Oh, obligatory dog hair. Yeah, it can stay. So I'm just going to make sure that these are stuck down, not just pretending. I'm going to use the end of my matchstick just to make sure it's good and stuck. And then very gently pull the elastic back through on this end to get rid of that bump on the edge. You'll know what I mean. When you do this, you'll know what I mean. There's a bump on the edge. Trust me, this is how you get rid of the bump. Okay. The reason I'm using a matchstick is because the glue is coming up through the elastic. There's a bit of spare glue there, so I'm just going to stick that under that corner there. Stick that down. There we go. Hi, Maddie. Okay. And now all we have to do is stick this back down. Make sure you get it stuck in around the elastic. But ta-da! There we go. Now we have an elastic. Again, don't get too gung-ho with your elastic and start pulling it and stretching it. You need that to cure for like 24 hours so that it's good and stuck. What I suggest you do is put your book under a weight to give it time to cure properly. But yeah, you now have a book with an elastic on. Nice and simple. Took 25 minutes, even with doing it slowly and explaining it to you. I can do it in about 15. Maddie, settle down, baby. Cody was watching the other video and then realised, went, hang on a minute, I think I've seen this one. Usually drink coffee with equal today, but had to add regular sugar. I miss how it tastes, but it's so bad for you. Ordinary sugar is not that bad for you, in my opinion. Given the choice between regular sugar and whatever the hell chemicals they put in artificial sweetener, I'm taking natural sugar. I'm sorry, but you don't need as much of it. Therefore, and it's a natural product. I mean, it's basically organic. I don't have a sweet tooth though, so it's easy for me to say. I don't have a sweet tooth, I have a savoury tooth. I don't add sugar or salt or ketchup or anything to things. I add cheese. I add cheese. Or if you can't add cheese, another thing you can do is nutritional yeast. Yeah, it's like Parmesan, but a lot cheaper. Tastes the same. It's good for you. And you can mix like garlic salt in with it, or herbs, or whatever. Just mix whatever you want in with your cheese. Sprinkle it on some potatoes, put them in the air fryer. Potato wedges seasoned. When I drank coffee, I was a honey and coffee girl. Yeah, I used to have honey in my coffee. I like honey and coffee. I'd rather have honey than a syrup. Unless it's a gingerbread syrup. If it's gingerbread syrup, I'm in. I am all in. Okay, what time are we on? 13:40 for our switch to nutritional yeast is the bomb. Yeah. Even if you're not vegan, nutritional yeast, if you like Parmesan or cheesy type seasonings on anything, nutritional yeast is where it's at, mate. What did I say? 40 minutes. We're getting into the journaling part of the journaling portion of the program. I thought I'd do this bit first because it's more practical. Sometimes people want to see the practical bit and they don't want to watch the journaling. I figure anybody who wants to watch the journaling is probably quite happy to watch this bit as well. Honey and coffee, yeah. And not like squeezy honey, not like liquid honey, crystal honey. The crystallized honey. Solid honey. Oh. Yeah. Don't put it in first because the boiling water does weird things to the honey. Put it in afterwards. Makes it easier on the stomach. That's how I learned to drink it, because I used to drink black coffee. But I drank so much black coffee, it used to give me stomach ache. And a friend of mine said, put some honey in it and it won't give you stomach ache. I was like, also, honey's good for you. Antibacterial and all that. A lot sweeter than sugar. So you don't need anywhere near as much of it. I put honey in tea, actually. I'm not a big tea drinker, but when I do have tea, I put honey in it. Earl Grey with honey. Very nice. Herbal teas with honey. Very nice. Okay. So yesterday I started reusing my journal. For those who missed it, the short version is I took out a big chunk of journal that was what I was using for... Is that it? Yes. Hold on. So I had this in here. It was making the journal very bulky and chunky, and this is quite stiff. So it wasn't very pleasant. This was from the Halloween challenge. So I pulled the pages out. I stuck the two on either side together, so I've got a slightly thicker page here, which means that I've got a easy bookmark for where my new start is for my book. And I'm going to put these together in a... These are the signatures, so some of them are together and some of them are not. Some of them are held together with a wish and a prayer. I will put these into a junk journal type thing and finish it off. Would a puncher not work because of the thickness? Jess asked about a puncher as well. For the holes in the back, I think you're a bit behind, Chris. For these slits, you're better off using a knife because it's only bookboard. It's really easy to get through. But if you do have one of those leather punches that has the slits that you punch it and you can do that with a piece of leather, then yes, that would work, but you're going to end up with two holes unless you've got a single hole one. So yes, you could, but I mean, I've got very weak hands. I have a lot of problems with my hands, and you can see it didn't take me very long to shove a bit of elastic through that. It's not hard to do. Obviously, if you've got a leather covered journal, this is vinyl covered. If you've got a leather covered journal, you might have to use a leather punch first. Another way to do it, if you've got a book punch, like a flat book punch, like a chisel punch, you could just put it and hammer it, and it'll go straight through. So a hammer punch would work easily if you've already got that. But if you haven't, a craft knife works just fine, as you can see. And I now have an elastic for my journal, which I'm very happy about. Okay. So yesterday in class, I did this, which is this is my rough version of my tarot spread from yesterday. I do long form journaling. Well, I've got my journal here, actually, because I haven't put it away from yesterday. This is my tarot journal, and I do much longer versions in here. But I like to have just the sketch version handy. So I usually have it stuck on a post-it or something like that. My normal way of doing it would be that, and then I just stick it in my book. So the full write-up will be in my other journal, but I did just put in the basics in here. But I had a bit of an interesting pull yesterday because I pulled an 8 of cups, an 8 of swords, the strength card, which is number 8 in the major arcana, and then I pulled the 3 and 5 of wands. 3 and 5 is 8. So we explored 8 in numerology. So I pulled some stickers that would work. I've got some notes, but I also have these, which are printables from Toadfoot Tales. These are actual full numerology pages, but I thought I would just use the 8s. And I rather like this with the hat. I think that's kind of cool. So I was thinking there might be a way to fit this bit and that bit into there and just have the 8. I think I can do that. So that's what we're going to play with. Lazy journaling. Yes, party of 1. There is actually an edge here where because there's a background. You can probably see it there. So I'm not just freehanding a straight line, I'm cutting along the edge. I'm not that clever. And I want the bottom section, and I think I want, where it says numbers, and I might move these around. Oh, I stuck that one down, didn't I? Never mind. No, I suppose I could cover it up. Doesn't matter, does it? I don't necessarily want all this at the top. But these don't stick very well. They're from those anthology books. They're like semi-permanent tape. They don't stick. This one I stuck down with washi tape. I stuck down with Pritt Stick, so this one might not come off. Or it might still come off. Because nothing sticks down properly anymore. No, I don't think he's going to come off. So I'll just cover him over It doesn't matter. It's a shame because I could have put him on top of there. But celery, that's the way it blows. So I'm going to put that there, but what I want to do is take out this centerpiece. Oh, this knife is not very sharp. I'm not using a ruler because it's not a straight line. Just make sure that's cut through on all the sides. Sorry about the snuffling and coughing and bleh. I'm still getting over the flu. I feel fine. I sound grotty. Okay. Right. I have to get it to sit straight on the page. Because what you normally do is just rip off the back and try and eyeball it, right? Nah, we don't do that. What we do is we fold it up a little bit at the bottom. And then we get this bit straight on the bottom. It's straight on the bottom and it's square on the corners. It'll be straight all the way up. Well, not the way I've cut it, but, you know, that doesn't matter. And then we can... Now this is going to be a little bit tricky because there's a little bit of a split here where the top of the box is. So I've got to be a little bit careful to get this bit stuck down here. And then there we go. See? Stuck down, no big wrinkles. We'll stick our number 8 up there. Put this away before I kill myself with it. Okay, so why for did we do that? Well, because I want to put this information into the box. Now, Toadfoot Tales is very consistent about how she does things. So this should be, look, it's the same width as the box. This is why I love her printables. So we've got that, which is the explanation correspondences. I want this bit, which is just the general thing, but I rather like the lines, the wibbly lines, so I'm going to cut it slightly outside of the lines. I'll probably use the other bits for stuff I'm not too worried about. It's only sticky paper. Obviously, if you're more worried about that, you can keep these bits and use them for something else. So there's that one. And that one. And I actually prefer that header. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so move you again. It's fine. I'll put you down here. Okay. Make this just a little bit thinner. Funny or terrible story of how you were trying to use an old tube of crazy glue, poked a hole in it and the glue went flying into your eye. Oh my god. Thought you were going to lose your eye. Crikey. I don't know what crazy glue is, but it sounds crazy. Is crazy glue like kids glue, or is it like super glue type? Time for a trip to the hospital glue. Okay. For consistency, I'm going to grab there you are, right at the bottom as always. So I'm just putting lines back in where I cut them off, or where they weren't there in the first place, like this, just so the boxes look consistent. I could have moved that one up a bit, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, and then I've got some information over here that I'm going to write into this box, because I'm pretty sure I can fit that in there. So let's Okay, and then additional little snippet. 4 equals number of stability. Eight equals 4 plus 4, which equals stability and balance. There you go. So I can now erase this, which means I've got a place to write additional notes for this if I want to. But I'll just leave it like that for now because that's pretty much how it's going to look. So there's my tarot spread. And using the printable from Toadfoot Tales for the number 8 plus my own notes. And if you're interested, the I'm going to craft a lunch in a minute. These tarot stickers are these, which you can get on Amazon in the US. You can't get them in Europe. But you can do what I did, which is get a lovely person in the US, thanks Bun, to send you a set. That reminds me, I've got a thing I need to post back to her. Ugh. So yeah, I'll put those there for a second if you want a screenshot. These are just lots of sheets of the same stickers. So you got the Major Arcana, the Minor Arcana, Swords and Pentacles, Wands and Cups, and then the Major Arcana and the Elements. Plus it comes with 2 reference stickers, which don't think I've got in here. I think I put those in my journal. So, not very expensive. If you do a lot of tarot readings, they're quite handy because it saves you having to print out your own decks and stuff. But like I say, they're not available over this side of the pond. You have to order them from Amazon America, and the only place that does them on Amazon won't ship to the UK. So you have to get somebody nice in the UK, in America, to send you something, or to send them to you. So, well, that's all I wanted to do initially. So I guess we're on to part 2, which I was going to do tomorrow, but I guess I could do it today, and you guys can give me some ideas, I suppose. I was watching Jassy Corran. Red Wheel Weiser does a tarot sticker book that's available in Europe. Oh, thank you, Inlay. That's handy to know. It may be available you're in Scandinavia, aren't you? So it may be available continental Europe, but not in the UK. Because your caveats, obviously. We're not in the EU anymore, sadly. So it may still not be available in the UK, but apparently there is one from Red Wheel Weiser, a sticker book that's available in Europe. So thanks for that. Hey John. So I don't want to get to a point with this journal where I'm like, I've done 3 or 4 days or a week or whatever, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm running out of steam. I'm running out of ideas. I don't know what to do next. And then I do like this much of it and I go, it gets thrown in the corner in a huff. I'm trying to do this to the end of the year at least, because I want to try and get back into journaling. That's the whole point of this. So, I don't envisage this book lasting more than a year, lasting more than the end of the year. If I actually get back into journaling, then this is... I mean, how many pages were there originally? How many pages is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. No, about 35. Oh, it might last me into next year. It might last me into next year. Okay, fair enough. So actually that works better. Crazy glue is like super glue. It dries really fast and hard. Oh my god. Yeah, that's bad because that can burn your eyes. So, I have already in here, one of the things I used to do was bullet journaling. I used to do bullet journaling for planning. I don't do bullet journaling for plan. Well, I do kind of still do bullet journaling for planning, but I do it in my planner, which is separate. This is just my journal. My planning and my journaling are separate because I run my own business. I can't have all my planning and all my journaling all in one place. It's too much. I have to break it up. So this is more personal stuff. So some of the things I've got in here, for instance, I've got my the first half of the year, all the books I read. I printed out all the pictures of the books, as you can see, and stuck them on. It just happened to fit on one page. I'm keeping a list of the books I'm reading since then. And the idea is obviously, you know, get all the pages, get all the covers and print them out and put them in here for the other half of the year. Because I'm doing a 48 book challenge over on Goodreads. I've only got 9.5 books left. Actually, I don't think it's a half. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through the one I'm reading now. So 9.25 books left. And there's 8 weeks of the year. But 2 of the books I want to read come out. One comes out Christmas Eve and the other one comes out on the 28th. And they're both quick reads because they're detective stories. Which is my jam. And it's my week off. So I'll be able to read 2 books that week, bare minimum. So we're okay with it. Morning, Maria. So yeah, I think I'm gonna sail through my 48 books, which is impressive given that I only read 5 books last year because I just didn't try. I just wasn't. Yeah. So anyway, I've got my physical audiobooks list, which I haven't updated. I need to do that. Physical books, sorry, and audiobooks. And I need to mark off which ones I've read and which ones I haven't, and so on. I've got my Joy Ellis series because there's like multiple different series. I also need to update this one. I've also got a printable of all the Stephen King books. There's a website called The Literary Lifestyle. Okay, and when you sign up for notifications, you get a whole list of different downloads. So these are all printables. I can't share the links. It specifically says please do not share the links because it's to entice you to sign up to the newsletter, obviously. But you can cancel the newsletter. You don't have to stay on the newsletter. But it's got the Gilmore Girls, The Fourth Wing Iron Flame, ACOTAR, Harry Potter, celebrity book lists, author book lists, book club questions, book club series lists, reading challenges, bookmarks, and then other stuff. All sorts of free printables. Like, loads of things. So if printables are your jam, I highly recommend that. I will put the link to the actual blog. It's an old style blog, you guys. I will put the link to the actual blog in the description, but it is theliterarylifestyle.com. And from there I got a list of all of Stephen King's books. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I've got 3 favourite authors. One of them I've read everything. One of them I've read all but the last book he wrote. Because my favourite character dies in that book and I don't think I can handle it. Stephen King. So I want to go through. I've got almost all of his books, I think, but he publishes so many it's easy to miss one. So I want to go through and double check which ones I've got and which ones I know I've read. And then any that I absolutely don't remember, I'll reread, and any that I don't have or haven't read, I will get, and that'll be part of next year's reading list. So that I thought I'd put that on there because this is kind of a dark picture. It goes with my book lists, so it'll be a Stephen King series. If it's more than half a page, I can always cover up a bit of this. It'll be fine. So that's going to go on there. That's going to be my... Oh, where's my sticker? There we go. So this is going to be my Stephen King books. List. I've got an option to make another list here. That might be quite a good idea. And maybe even a list here. So we'll see. I'll leave that for now. Then I did this, obviously. And then I'm wondering what other lists would I like to put in my journal. Now, I'm not a big tracker. I just like lists. Okay, so I'm not going to be doing fancy... Oh, this is, I read this and this is how long it took me and blah, 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 and start date and finish date. The book, and when I've done it, it gets crossed out or highlighted. That's it. Okay, there's nothing extra there. I just cross it out. Now, my other book, which I now can't see, is going to be my reading and writing journal. So I don't need the lists in here, but I can do things like the book reviews and stuff. So I don't need to do all of this. I'll do the overview stuff in my journal, and then all the detailed stuff will be in here. So I've got all the books I read this year, and then these are all the series I'm reading. These are all the lists of books I'm working through. This is my TBR list, etc., etc. But I've got more information in those books, like the summaries of the books. I don't write book reviews, but I do write summaries because I can read a book today and by tomorrow I couldn't tell you what it's about. I have no idea. I can look at a book and look at the cover and go, yep, I've read that, and I can tell you exactly where I was when I read it and what I was doing and when it was and probably what time of the year it was. I might even be able to give you a rough date. But I have no clue what the book was about. Not a clue. I can remember like snippets of the book, like visual scenes. But that's basically it. So I don't like doing book reviews. It takes me back to school. It's too much work. I'm not that much of a reader. I just enjoy reading. I'm not an analyst. If I'm going to analyse a book, out come the stickers and the highlighters and the tabs and the pencils, and I go to town in the book itself. All of the physical books I've got, except for my Stephen King first editions, are crazy highlighted. You know, the Bookstagram girlies, where it's all like, they've got like hundreds of books and they're all covered in tiny little notes and post-its and stickers and God knows what. That's me. I also tend to draw in books. If a theme or something, if something sticks out to me, I will draw in the book to remind myself visually what the book is about. But that's more for analysis, for books that I really want to get into, and I don't do that very often. I have a book, actually, this one, which is going to be on my book list over the holidays. I got to chapter 4 and I realised I needed to get more into it. So this is The Notebook, A History of Thinking on Paper by Roland Allen. So I'll hold it there so you can screenshot it if you want to. It came out a while back. It's really interesting. Inlay. This is your kind of book. Delving into the history, and like, this is an academic style book. This isn't just pretty pictures and talking about what's going on. This is the guy from oh, there he is, look, Roland Allen. He's Manchester University. He works in books and publishing, so he knows a lot about this stuff. And it covers the entire history of notebooks and why people use notebooks and diaries and philosophy and all sorts of things. It's a really interesting book. So he's got it broken down into eras. So you've got the before notebooks existed, which is 1000 BCE to 1200. So basically prehistory to the Middle Ages. The invention of accounting in Provence and Florence in the 1200s. Slight strokes in a little book, the sketchbook, Florence 1300 to 1500. I'm not going to read all the titles. Florence 1300 to 1500, notebooks in the home, where they were kept for accounting and staff and inventories and all that kind of stuff. The Book of Michael Rhodes from Alexandria, Venice 1430. The notebook comes to England in the 1300s to 1500s, and that's called Wicked Wives and Mouths Stopped with Wool. You know that's going to be gossip and witchcraft, don't you? Just from the title. Singing in Harmony, Bologna, 1450 to 1600. Two notebook keepers from Italy in 1450 to 1519. Contrasting two different types of notebooks. Commonplace books, 1500 to present. I mean, the list goes on. This is a really good, solid breakdown. Literally going through all different things. Down here we've got police notebooks. Well, I'll just read out the basic list of the world's ocean, so oceanography, fishing books, friendship books, industrial observations, travellers and their notebooks, mathematicians, Fouquet and Colbert from Paris, table books, a logged journey, naturalists' notebooks, diaries and journals, police notebooks, authors' notebooks, recipe books, journals for self-care, electioneering, climate logs, bullet journaling. It's got an interview with Ryder Carroll in here, so it's up to date. It's not a very old book. 2022, I think it came out. 2023. 2023 it came out. Bullet journaling, patient diaries, notebook studies, so even better, observing artists, and then the extended mind. Otto carries a notebook, 1938 to present, which is, what's his name? Can't remember. Can't see it. Can't remember. But it's not just lots of pretty pictures. It's proper. Oh, that's right. Otto's got Alzheimer's, but he keeps a notebook so he can remember things. It's fascinating. If you're into the history of notebooks and notebook keeping, this is a book for you. It is absolutely brilliant. Like I say, I read 4 chapters of it, and then I was like, okay, I need to put this to one side until I've got time to properly read it and take notes and study it rather than just skim through it. It's a textbook type read. So yeah, inlay, you need this book. Put it on Santa's Christmas list. You'd love this. It will keep you going for months. Overall, there's 30 chapters. Well, 31 chapters. So, I mean, some of the chapters are quite long and split into 2. You could do a year's worth of study on this. You could properly study it. It's a good book. So I'm here for that one. But I need to look at that when I'm on my, when I've got time to sit and read it. And what I do with those kind of books, I'll do like I did with the bullet journal, which is I'll get the audio book of it and listen to the audiobook while I read, because I'm dyslexic. It's tricky for me to take things in by reading them. I'll end up reading it like 9 times and still not know what it says. Whereas if I'm reading it with someone reading it aloud, I can follow it much better. Yeah, so yeah, lists. I'm looking for the kind of lists that I can put in here. List ideas. Well, I suppose I could use one of these for a list ideas, couldn't I? I mean, I could. Let's have an ideas list, shall we? An ideas list. Little Raven Ink has you adding that to your TBR list. Do it for One Book July. It's a big read for One Book July. But we could do, like, maybe we could do a read along a lot over in Discord. That might be fun. And spend longer on it. So we only have to read like a chapter a week or something. A couple of chapters a month. We could do that. I think it's too much for One Book July. Because it's proper historical, academic type stuff. It's not just the usual kind of self-help stuff we do. If you're not on my Discord, by the way, and you want to come over, hit up one of the mods and you can get the link to the Discord. Or message me on Instagram or email me, romany@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link. If you're on Patreon or whatever, or have been on Patreon, you should still have access. Because everybody who joins Patreon, we don't add them to the general members list as well. So even if you cancel Patreon and you're not in the Patreon groups, you should still have access to the Discord. Come on over and chat with us. We're not a terribly chatty group, but we do have a lot of different interests. We have a writer's room, we have a reader's room, we have several writers in the group, including myself. In fact, I'm currently reading Sarah Mueller's book, The Bone Orchard, which is very good. Thoroughly enjoying it. I wasn't initially. I didn't like it at first. I had a lot of trouble getting into it. But once I got into it and I realised what type of book it was, and it started to make sense, then I'm like, okay, I'm down for this. And now I'm racing through it. I'm nearly finished it and I'm really enjoying it. It's really interesting. It's kind of gothic fantasy meets psychological disassociation. Or dissociation, whatever it's called. I think when she started it, probably her premise was, what if you could take all the different facets of your personality that you don't want to have to deal with, like pain or guilt or shame or whatever, and physically take them out of your body and put them into somebody else's. And that's the premise of it, but it's a fantasy book and it's gothic and dark and it's really good. The Bone Orchard. I'm listening to the audiobook, but I will put it up on the screen so you can screenshot it if you want to. Sarah's a long-term member of my Patreon. And she didn't tell me that she'd written a book until one day she'd sent a copy to Bun, because obviously Bun's in America, where she is. So she sent a physical copy to Bun for her book read. And I was like, wait, hang on a minute, you've written a book? And it's like gothic and creepy and weird and fantasy and psychological stuff? And you haven't told me about this because... So that was the next audiobook I picked up and went straight on my TBR list. How are you enjoying Fairy Tale, Tyler? They're making it into a series. History of Thinking on Paper, yeah. By Roland Allen. So what other list ideas might I want to consider for putting in my journal? I can already tell you that bucket list is not going to be one of them. I don't do that kind of thing. I don't care. I just do stuff. I don't put things off. If I want to do it, I do it. So I've already got my book lists. I probably should put a list of books I want to read in there somewhere, but I think I've got enough to be going on with for now. I've got enough space there to put book recs or, you know, books that people have recommended to me or books that I've seen that I'm interested in doing. But I tend to put my want to reads on Goodreads because it's easier. And I do track all my reading on Goodreads anyway, so it's not like I absolutely have to have it in written form. I like having it in written form because I'm old school. I do want to put a list of movies and media because if you followed me for a while, you'll know I do this, but subscription services tend to be expensive over time to have all of them. I can't afford lots of subscription services, but some things are proprietary, so it's hard to get them if you don't have that particular service. So what I do is I'll sign up for like the Mouse channel for a month and I'll binge watch everything I want to watch on there. If I'm not done by the end of the month, I'll sign up for another month. If I'm done with everything I wanted to watch, I'll move to another subscription, perhaps one that used to be called Love Film, and I'll watch everything that's been recommended to me or that I want to watch on there. So like December, I'm going on to what used to be Love Film, because we're not advertising these companies, for God's sake, they do it themselves. What used to be Love Film, I want to watch, I want to rewatch the Sandman series. I want to watch the Fall of the House of Usher, and there's a couple of Netflix original films that I want to watch. So I've got a list of those scribbled somewhere on a post-it note. Those could do with going in here. Setting up your TBR for November. Going to add this. Any more recs? Trying to keep my mind off what's happening at the moment. Oh, aren't we all? I'm just... This is a current news-free channel. We're like, la la la, we're not listening. You had one job, America. One job. Let's not go there. Okay, so, what have I read recently? It depends what you like. It depends what kind of things you like. Sorry, my head keeps getting in the way, doesn't it? I don't know why that's happening today. It doesn't normally happen, does it? It depends what things you like reading. What genre do you like? That's an important question, isn't it? Because, like, I love fantasy books. I'm all for fantasy books, but I cannot stand the ACOTAR Fourth Wing type crap. I'm sorry, but it's just not my bag. It's Outlander was the same. It's basically all smut and not very historically accurate. And I'm not into it. It's not my kind of reading. Give me a good detective story where somebody gets murdered. That's more my jam. But I also like fantasy stories, but like completely otherworld type fantasy stories. Like, I absolutely adore Terry Pratchett's books. Stephen King's fantasy books are amazing. There's another author that we probably shouldn't name at the moment who used to be... He is one of my favourite authors. I can separate the weird old man from the creations he has made. He had a hand in writing Good Omens, which is one of my favourite books ever. And I love his books. I have always loved his books. But, you know, just because he's a problem doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to suddenly not read his books. I like the books. The books are fine. I already own most of the books, so... Mystery, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, romance, and middle grade books. Oh, so basically anything. Mystery, horror, fantasy. You'd really like Bone Orchard then. You might enjoy 12 Nights in Rotterhouse. It's a silly book. It's silly. It's like this movie went straight to DVD, kind of silly. But it's also a really good read. It's well written and it's got a really good twist at the end. So... The Murderbot Diaries. I'm not familiar with those. I will look those up. I don't put things straight on my TBR list. I tend to go and see what they're about first and whether I'm interested in them. No, don't stop. Keep. This is what it's for. When Among Crows, Veronica Roth. For me, it depends on what the type of book is. But if somebody I know has similar interests to me suggests a book, then I will go and read it. Harrow the Ninth and Murderbot. Murderbot Diaries. Murderbot Diaries just sounds hilariously silly. I'm here for it. Yeah, join the Discord. There's a whole reading corner. There's a library. There's a place where you can share what you're currently reading and book recs. And there's a place where you can actually go and talk about books once you've read them. The Ninth House and Hellbound. You'd probably like that, Chris. Actually, all her books are good. Oh, Gideon the Ninth. Badurgo, Lee Badurgo. All her books are good. Her entire series of books. Six Crows books are amazing. Oh, they're a trilogy of necromancers. Necromancers in space. Oh, well, that's definitely up my alley. I love books like that. What was that book we were talking about the other day, Cody? Where the only thing missing was basically a dinosaur and a spaceship. It had everything in it. I can't remember what it was called. Can't remember which book it was. This is why I keep lists. But yeah, grab the Discord link, come over and join us. Inlay, you've been a Patreon member before. You may already be on the Discord. Unless you didn't sign up for it in the first place. Because I've always had the Discord available. Since I started Patreon, so. And usually if you sign up for a month or so, especially for the higher tiers, which you were in, I add you to the members list anyway. I should put the link over on Patreon for followers. So anybody who wants to join the Discord, follow on Patreon. It's free to follow. You'll get all the public posts like this today. You get a notification about this because it's a public post. And you get access to the shop. You're not on Discord, you've struggled to understand it. Okay, when you get over there, the first thing that will happen is you'll end up in a waiting room. Just tell them that we sent you. And then as soon as somebody replies, say, please help, I don't know how to use Discord. And it will usually be the Mika or Tyler will jump on you and hold your hand and show you where everything is. But I've found the easiest way to think about it, like visually, think about the Discord channels as like, remember the old school blogs where you'd have an index on the side and it'd be like the year, and then you'd have the months, and under the months you'd have the different posts for that month. Think of the channels like that. So you have a category, which is your year. Then you have channels or sections. And each category is broken up. So like there's the really important stuff that's to do with Romany. There's the chat channels. Then there's the arts, crafts and journaling type stuff. And then there's games and books and other things. It is like BBM message boards, yeah. But it's an index on one side, and once you click on the index, it takes you to the main panel on the other. Use it on the computer initially, and you'll find it easier to follow. It's quite tricky to follow on the phone. But if you use it on a computer or a browser first, it makes more sense. And then once you understand it, you start using the app because it's easier to turn notifications off. But yeah, just shout either Tyler or Mika, and one of them will walk you through everything you need to know. First thing you do is turn off all notifications. Do not allow it to send you notifications. You'll be getting notifications every 5 seconds. Don't do it. And then once you know how to turn notifications on for single channels, you can decide which channels. Like if you're not into gaming, there's no point having the games channel on. But if you want the books and the library and the notifications for when we go live and things like that, you can select those channels and say, okay, I want notifications for those channels, but none of the others. Anyway, I think I'm going to just quickly update this list because this list is not up to date. So I don't even have the notebook on here. The notebook, I'm just going to put history because I know what that means, and I'm going to put a star next to it because I already know I want to read it at some point. Have I read any of this? Any of these? Oh, I have got notebook the history. I've already got it on there. Oh, weird. Okay, never mind. I'll just cross one of them out. The trouble is these are either physical books or they're on my Kindle app. And I don't like reading digitally. Which is weird because I spend a whole lot of time reading fan fiction on AO3. But that's different because I open it in the browser and I do it text to speech. Okay, so some of these I've already done. I've already read, so I can cross them off. Emperor's New Clothes and Other Stories. I've read that one. Carmilla, read it. Fourth Wing, one of the very few books I DNF'd. Because 3 chapters in, I already had a list of 30 different references for other fantasy books that he'd stolen things from, or ideas, or sometimes entire sentences. I was like, no, I'm not going to finish this. The Hunted, no, I haven't read that one. Sleeper, no, because those are a series, and I haven't read that series yet. Two for Joy, no, that's part of a series as well. The Fireman, I thought I'd read that one, but apparently I haven't finished it. So that's on my list of things that I need to finish. Or start again so I can finish it. Dying Light, Guest, Thursday Murder Club. We've read that one. Book 1. Wrong Sister. Oh, did I read that one or not? I think I did. Holy Island, I read that one. And Sycamore Gap, I read. Okay, so Wrong Sister. Did I read that one? This is why I don't even know if I've read it. I don't know. The Wrong Sister. I think I have. In my library. View in library. Finished. Yeah, so I did read it. Oh. Oh, is that... Yes, I do remember it now. Okay, yes, I remember reading that one now. Okay, so I've read that one. Cool. So I've got some new books I need to put on here that I haven't put on here yet. Some of them are probably finished. Guide stars Joy Ellis, so that's on that list. Yep, that's on there, so I've read that one. Yeah, we're swapping to pink. I can't be bothered looking for my brown pen right now. Carmilla, that's not one of these, that's there. 12 Nights in Rotter House, I haven't written that one on here. Thursday Murder Club, Wrong Sister. One More to Die, that's a Joy Ellis one. So it should be, yep, that's on there and marked off. Holy Island, just done that one. Guard Her With Your Life, that's that one. Where are we up to? Fear on the Fens. Yes. Where's the one I just got? Not started. Graves on the Fens, that's that one. And then there's another one coming out at Christmas. That's the one that's coming out the 24th of December. And that's Echoes. Okay, so let's continue checking the finished books first. Oh, Bone Orchard, that's not on here. Or is it? No. That's current. You Like It Darker was that one. So that was the last one I read in the last half of the year. So, oh. Okay, those are all on there, right. What other ones have I picked up since that I haven't started yet? Got another Joy Ellis one. This is... Which one is this? Is it a series one or is it... Oh, it's the new series. It's the new series. Ellie McEwen. I'm not sure if I'm going to start a new series until I've finished these. That's why I haven't put that one down yet. The Cove. L.J. Ross. That was a recommendation from my mum. I've read a couple of other of her books and they were alright, so... The Sleeper, Emily Barr. I think I can put non-fiction down here. No, I'll just put it in audiobooks. That's on my other list. Okay, so I'm just kind of thinking through what I've got, and then have I got any in progress that I haven't written down? No, those are all ones that I've got written on my TBR list for the rest of the year because I've started them, but I got distracted and I haven't gone back to them, so now I have to restart them. So those are in my book. I don't need to write those in my book. They're in here. And I can see how far I am through them, so. Okay. Ugh, itchy eye. Use the add-on on your browser that lets you know where you can find books you want to read Because I have a few library cards and works with other things, like Everland tells you when they're available. Oh, cool. Christmas themed police procedural. What is that? If anyone likes cozy mysteries, it's a free series on Audible called The Mistletoe Murders. Oh, that's my mum's kind of jam. I will tell my mum about that. She's totally into that kind of stuff. Thursday Murder Club. You'd like the Thursday Murder Club books if you haven't read them, Tyler. Same kind of thing. Busybody old people in a nursing home solving murders. It's a ridiculous premise, but it's great. See you later, Inlay. Thanks for joining us. Christmas themed police procedurals. That sounds actually that might be a good Christmas present for my mum. Because when people get to like 80, they don't want things anymore. They either want practical things, edible things, or consumables, or they want books. And my mum is very much into her Kindle books, so I might see if I can get the series on Kindle and gift her the series on Kindle. That'd be fun. Or get my dad to buy it for her. That'll be easier. I use Goodreads because you can follow people. You can find me on there. I'm on there as Romany. By Bun's on there, Cody's on there. I think Tyler's on there. Inlay's on there. All sorts of people are on Goodreads, and then you see their recommendations. And you can track your own reading progress and stuff like that. Okay, so I've updated that one. I've updated this one. My Stephen King list I need to print out. I'm not going to mess around with that right now. So I've got a movies and media list. I think I might have... Actually, you know what I'm going to do is start a... Because I don't want to put it on my TBRs, because I don't know if I'm going to want to read them. So I'm going to put in book recommendations. Actually, I might just have recommendations, now I think about it. So let's change that. Let's use a bit of this. Got a nice yellow bit there. That'll work. There we go. Your mum might like the 12 Dogs of Christmas. She's read that one. She's into the Thursday Murder Club at the moment because I recommended that. She likes murder mysteries, but she's very much into the mystery, not the murder bit. She likes good character, mystery-driven type plots. So she's very into Agatha Christie and all that kind of stuff. But she likes L.J. Ross and the Thursday Murder Club. She reads a lot of series. She started me off on the Joy Ellis books. Storygraph to track multiple books at once. Has a private and public book notes as well. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I like Goodreads because it connects to Kindle and Audible. Okay, so I'm just going to put here recommendations. So my TBR list is books I know I want to read. My movies and media list will be broken up by which platform they're on and what they're available on, so that I can watch them when I sign up for that service, because I'm not in any rush to watch anything. The only one I have all the time is Amazon, because I have Amazon Prime. So, you know, I can watch most things on there anyway. It's just the proprietary stuff I have to get. But the recommendations will be things that other people have said, oh, you might enjoy this. And I find 9 times out of 10 I actually don't. Bun no longer recommends books to me. I just go and snoop her book list of what she's read and how she reviews it. Because I have a very different reading thing. She's very much into the fantasy romance type stuff, the ACOTAR series and all that, and I am so not into any of that. You don't want your Kindle highlights known. Fair enough. You don't have to show your Kindle highlights on Goodreads though. But see, if I like a book enough to make notes on it, I will buy a cheap paperback and just write on the book. No, I just write them in the book. Just buy a second-hand paperback copy of the book and write your notes in there. It's so much easier, trust me. Okay, so recommendations. I like to write down who recommended it as well. So these were all Inlay's recommendations. And then I can go through and see if they're things that I want to read. If it sounds interesting to me, if it looks like, and then I'll preview it on Audible. And if I'm okay with the reader and the pace of the story sounds okay from the snippet that they give you, then I'm good. Basically. Yeah, but you're different, Cody. You literally take notes on every single book you read. There's not many people who do that. Most people only take notes on books that they're really into, and most of what they do is just highlighting and sticking tabs in. You actually write notes about what you're thinking about when you're writing the book, reading the book. That's a whole different thing. You're a different fish, okay? You are not like the rest of us. What other lists might I want to put in my journal? Can't think of any. I might have to watch. Hey Pelican, we're literally just wrapping up, but the good news is I've been streaming for 2 hours. So when we stop, you've got a 2-hour stream to watch. And I streamed yesterday as well. The reason I write, I don't know if I just said this already. The reason I write in recommendations who told me, who recommended it is because over time, like by Bun, for instance, you learn who's got similar taste to you and who hasn't. And you get to know that certain people have exactly the same taste as you, and others have the same taste as you in certain genres. If Bun recommends an art book, I'm in it. I'm buying it because I know it's going to be good. But if she recommends a story, unless she mentions the word gothic in it, I'm probably not going to read it. Because she's into the romance type stuff and I'm not. So you get to know what of people's recommendations you can take. Like anything Tyler recommends, I'm probably going to read it. Same with Cody. Because Cody doesn't recommend things to me that she knows I wouldn't want to read. Other people, you have to learn what they recommend. You just wanted to say hi. That's fine. Hi. I was coming up with ideas for lists that I want to put in my journal. I'm restarting journaling again. And I thought a good way to do it would be to incorporate some bullet journal type stuff where I do some lists. I've got all my book lists and TBRs and books I've read and all that kind of stuff. And I was just coming up with some other ideas. So far we've got movies and media. That's as far as we've got so far. That's it. You look for people who have the opposite tastes to you. Oh, no. Because the amount of eye rolling I do, I'm not interested in branching out my reading, okay? I'm not one of those readers who's, I want to branch out my reading, I want to try different genres, I want to try different... No, I like what I like, I know what I like, and I will sit and read it. But don't try and make me read anything else. Unless it's stellar. And if it's completely out of my zone of things that I'm interested in, I will stick with it for a couple of chapters, and if none of the characters interest me, I won't continue it. I nearly didn't continue The Bone Orchard because it started off, it's a fantasy, but she doesn't do any world building. None. There is no world building at all. All of the world building and history and all that comes through the characterization. And because I'm used to fantasy where you get the world building first, I had no idea what was going on for the first couple of chapters. And it was only when I connected with one of the characters and I realised, oh, hang on a minute, we're not getting an expose on the world building and what it's like. First, we're getting the characters and who they are, and then all their different opinions of how they're living and what the situation is, and so on and so forth. And that is much more interesting for this particular book, because there's lots of factions and not exactly politics, but there's kings and queens and courtiers and advisors and people who are in favour and who are not in favour. It's a bit like the Tudors. It's more like the Tudors than politics, but it is kind of like that. If they hate a book, you'll love it. Yes, actually, I found that with Bun. If Bun doesn't finish a book, it's very rare that she doesn't finish a book, or she gives it like less than 3 stars, I'll probably enjoy it. That is true. But yeah, it's very rare that I don't finish a book. If I'm not going to finish a book, I barely start it. Because if I'm not immediately interested in any of the characters, what's the point? I'm very character driven. If I'm interested in a character... I love Erin Kelly's books because she's so good at characterization. Her stories are a bit convoluted and her plot lines are a bit scary, but her plot lines are scary as in sometimes there's a big hole and you could drive a truck through it. She's a bit like Chris Chibnall, which explains why she wrote the Broadchurch book. But I like the way she writes. It's very easy to follow. And I love her characterization. She makes her characters interesting. There is always a character in the first chapter or so that I will engage with, or I will really detest, and I want to see something horrible happen to them. Like, immediately. Immediately, no, I dislike you. I want to see horrible things happen to you. Please let it be. If I don't engage with any of the characters in any way, I don't care what happens to them. It could be the most interesting story in the world. If I don't enjoy the characters, I don't care. Anyway, I will continue the list ideas tomorrow. So if you come up with any ideas before tomorrow, write them down and let me know what they are tomorrow. When I come back, I will start making some more list ideas. I might catch up with a couple of Jassie's list videos and see what kind of things she's got written down. I don't want to do like... I like doing bingo stuff. That's quite interesting, especially for books or for games. Oh, a games list. That's something I should write down now that I've got a laptop that can play games again. I've got a couple of games I would like to try. Not online games. I'm not getting into all that again. But there's a couple of games that I would like. I really have wanted to try the Witcher games for a long time. But they're very hard to get for the Switch Lite. And I'm more of a PC gamer. I'd rather play something like that on the PC. But now I've got a laptop, I can do that again. So, games that I want to check out. Yeah. Ideas. Ideas for lists, that's what I'm looking for. Because I feel like if I've got enough to start with to get going in this book, it'll feel like I'm making progress. The other thing I want to try and do is just start making notes for the day. Whether it be a quick illustration or a bit of news snippet or whatever, or a quote or whatever. Just like keeping a commonplace notebook almost, which is what I used to do. And I think I want to start trying to do that with just initially having, okay, I'll put the date and then I'll just see what happens for the rest of the day. And if it's this much, that's fine. And if it's 2 pages, it's fine. If it's 5 pages, it's fine. If I end up just writing, today was boring and it sucked, that's also fine. So, yeah. That's the plan, to see where I get back to. But also, I was thinking maybe setting up a couple of layouts. I talked about this with my patrons yesterday, because we're doing journals and journals specifically this month, and looking at different types of journals with a view to having an idea of what kind of things you want to try out before we hit December and then next year. Diablo 4! I can't I? I can play Diablo 4 now. I'm very much still into Diablo Lords of Destruction, though. So I don't know about that. I love Diablo 2 Lords of Destruction so much. It has been my game for so long. Like, since the day it came out, I've been playing that game. I still play it now. I will still wander in and go as far as the cow level, just because it's funny. I don't know if I want to get into Diablo 4. I don't know if I want to learn another way of playing and stuff. But I might. It's one of the books that'll go on my list. One of the games that'll go on my list. It might be something I try over Christmas, when I've got time to sit down for a couple of days and just game. Because I'll need a couple of days to get into the mechanics. And figure out how to play it on the laptop and all that kind of stuff. It takes me a little while to get it going. But once I'm going, I'll be all right. And I have to say, the fact that I can screencast my laptop to my 32-inch TV. I mean, I play Diablo 2 on the Switch, but I am so tempted to put it on the laptop just so that I can play it on the big screen. These tiny little pixels on a 4K screen. Old school, man. Old school. And I've got old DVDs of games, like old school games that I never got rid of, like Pac-Man and Tetris, like the classics that I can play on the TV now. Invent management. I don't know what that sounds like one of those build it and organize it and world builder type games, and I hate those kind of games. I am not here for games where you have to build houses and armies and all that stuff. I started playing June's Journey, which I was really enjoying, but for some reason it won't save. So every time I log back into it, it's knocked me back to level 1. So I've taken that off. I am very into Midas Merge at the moment, but only because it's really freaking cute. If people 1-star a book, I'll love it. Yeah. I look at people's DNF lists. If you didn't finish it, I'd probably stick with it. Especially if somebody says this book was really slow. Because I'm not an instant gratification type reader. I need to engage with a character, but I'm perfectly happy with a slow story. I don't have a problem with that at all. So if somebody says, oh, this book was too slow, that's a really good indication that I'll enjoy it. Because I'm a slug when it comes to reading. I read slow. I listen slow. Right. I'm going to call it a day. I've got a good list of things started. I'm going to start. I'm not going to be on... Here we go. Lasted 2 hours today. That's good. Yesterday it was only an hour. So I must be getting better. But this cough has started again, so I need to go and rest. So I'm not going to be on Twitch this afternoon. I'm hoping to do Twitch on Friday. And I would rather do Friday because there's more people there. Usually Wednesdays it's just me and Tyler goofing about. So I'm going to rest this afternoon and do some admin type stuff that I need to catch up on. And then the rest of it can wait until Friday. Because I've still got 8 hours of streams to do this week. And I don't want to get to Friday and find that I've lost my voice. We don't want to do that. We need to take it steady. So I'm going to call it a day. I will see you again tomorrow. Bright and early. Well, 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me. Bright and early for some of you. And I will continue my list ideas. And who knows, maybe I'll have done some journaling. I mean, who knows? I might do some journaling. I'm loving the fact that this book has now got an elastic on it. If you missed the top of the stream, we put an elastic on our book, and now we're very happy with it. So, a little tutorial there on how to do it. It only took 25 minutes, and that's because I was talking all the way through it. So, and I did it slow. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. And today, because I realised I don't have my end screen, that's something I need to do. I need to write that on my notes. End screen. I don't have my end screen, so when I cut off the stream yesterday, it cut off part of the end. I don't know why it does that, but it does. So I put an end screen that was, when that flashed up on YouTube, I knew I could stop the stream. And sometimes it takes 5 minutes. So there was a little bit of yesterday's stream missing. I still haven't done that. So I'm just going to turn the camera off and everything. and then there'll be a little bit of blank space at the end of the video. Nothing else is going to happen, okay? Don't get excited. It's just me waiting for YouTube lag before I end the stream. Otherwise it cuts off a bit of the stream for the replay, okay? So that's it. I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.